Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. It's Monday morning here around 11 a.m. in Seattle, Washington. I am Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts, and hopefully having a nice holiday season. Maybe some of you are off from your jobs and work right now, or some of you are maybe back to work. Thank you for tuning in and joining me for this is live stream number 104. And this potentially will be the last stream that I do this year in 2020. Not quite sure yet. Still talking to a couple people, and we'll kind of see where things go. But again, thank you for joining me. I'm really looking forward to doing the interview. I always look forward to doing the interviews, and this one is going to be no different. So, as I mentioned, this is interview number 104, and I absolutely want to thank the band Alice for allowing me to get into this world back on May 22nd. Again, I've mentioned this before. Had they not invited me to do virtual interviews on their tour, I wouldn't be here right now doing any of this. So I always want to make sure that I mentioned and thank Alice, and I want to thank all the guests that I've had a chance to talk to over, the 8 months or whatever it's been. Hi, Bessie. Good to see you, and nice to have your support, and obviously your good friend that I'm going to be introducing here in a second. And anyone else that's watching this now or watching this later, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you happen to be on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. Same thing if you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching on Facebook, any of those kind of things. I'm finding out that those things really help out a lot. So I really appreciate it. Hi, Industrial Girl. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me down in East LA. Hopefully things are good down there as well on this Monday. It's sunny but cold up here. It dropped below freezing overnight. But it sure looks beautiful now. I actually have to go out in this once I'm done with things later today. But it's been a great time doing all of the interviews, all of the fun tables, and everything in between. And I don't know what 2021's got in store. I can't really plan things out. I'm just kind of doing things by ear. And as some people know, I talked about this in the summer, that I thought once I got to around Thanksgiving, I was going to kind of stop. Well, it's raining and cold down there, but fresh. Okay. That's always nice after it rains, kind of get that nice, kind of clears the air kind of a smell usually. I thought I was going to be kind of done around Thanksgiving just because of the holiday time, and figured that people wouldn't have time in their schedules or what have you. But this is 2020, of course. So things are a little bit different. Even for myself, my schedule opened up this week, which I thought I was going to be working in a bunch of other things. So that's why I say I play things by ear in terms of trying to get people together. Awesomely so. Okay, well, Matt, nice to meet you virtually, and I know that you're looking forward to this interview as well as am I. So let's get to it. And I can also mention that connection-wise, it's been taking us a little bit longer. So, like, if I say something, there's a little bit of almost like a pause for our guests to be able to hear, and vice versa. So, if I'm talking kind of slowly, or if we're kind of waiting for something to come through, it's just the system or the Wi-Fi or what have you. But we'll get there. My guest today is an artist from Greece. She has been honing her craft for over 10 years. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts virtual studio, Frozen Mistress Art.
Hello. Hello to
Hi.
everyone. Hello, Mark.
How are you?
I'm super good. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, and I'm very glad that I can say that.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that too. How was your Christmas time?
Christmas was good for me, and part of that was because of my schedule change. I was actually supposed to be working Christmas Eve night and Christmas night,
Okay.
and I'm no longer at that job. So I'm really glad to actually have a nice Christmas and some time off and everything. So how was yours?
Mine was quite silent because I was in the home with my parents because right now we're under lockdown in Greece and nobody can really go outside or really celebrate, you know.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I did a virtual thing with my immediate family on Christmas, just to be safe.
Mhm.
So, but you know, all things considered, things are still pretty good. You know, some people have it much worse than I do. So I'm grateful.
Actually, me too, because even if we are in the house right now, I mean, in 2020, you can still do things at home, like watch videos on YouTube, watch a movie, anything, like play a video game, having TV. Imagine if all this would happen in 1920s, for example. I mean, what could you do in the house?
Very true. And I mentioned that to somebody else, and I'm not trying to jinx it, but imagine if we didn't have the internet right now during this.
Yes.
Ooh, you wouldn't stream anything. You couldn't do any interviews. You no YouTube. So you know,
Actually, no music. I would have died with no music. I mean, I can live
yeah.
without movies or, yeah, but with no music, no way.
I hear you. And oh yeah, down in East
Oh,
LA, they still have a 10 p.m. curfew. Oh goodness. Okay. Wow.
yes, yes, from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., you're not allowed to go outside. Only for serious reasons, like if you visit a doctor or you want a pharmacy, only this.
Wow.
Or
Yeah.
if a relative or someone close to you is in real need, like medical need or something. Otherwise, you're not allowed to go outside on these hours. Yes.
Interesting. I wonder if that's going to start happening up here. I don't even know where the cases are in Washington State right now, if we're doing better or if we're doing worse.
And we can also, we are not allowed to move outside from one city to another. Like normally right now I would be in Rhodes Island where I live with my boyfriend, but I'm stuck in Athens because I can't travel right now. So I
Oh,
am here for holidays. And let
so,
me say quickly hi to Bessie and Matt because I saw they were writing in the comments.
hmm.
I know them both in person. So, and hello to everybody else who is right now online and watching us.
Awesome. So yeah, let's talk about your art background for those that
Mhm.
are familiar with you and those that aren't. How did you get started as an artist? How far back were you a little kid when you started drawing and painting, or how did this start?
Ah, actually, when I was a kid, I was a little bit awful in arts. Like, I couldn't draw at all, for example. But as the years were passing by, like since when I was in high school and afterwards, I always was watching pieces of art on Google, like if you know Victoria Frances or Natalie Shaw, for example. I was
Hmm.
always liking their arts, and I was like saving pictures on my phone just to have them as a wallpaper or just seeing them because I love this kind of dark element and gothic element in the pictures or fantasy element in the pictures. And at some point, I was back in 2010 and I got curious just to search on Google some articles how you can remove a background from a photo and change the background on a picture. And I found some steps for Photoshop. And then I decided to download the Photoshop program, one that was free because it was an old version. And I tried to follow the steps I saw on Google, how to remove the background from a photo. And I experimented. And okay, the first images and the first results were not as good as now, but practice makes perfect with years, I mean. And practically, this is how I started. And when I saw that I could make something new from several pieces, from several images, make a new one, I was like, wow, maybe I can do this because I really liked it. I really enjoy this kind of art, even from other artists. Like I follow a lot of other artists that do the same thing.
Okay, so when you were first starting to, remove backgrounds using Photoshop and, liking certain types of artists that did, gothic and dark type of artwork, were you also doing traditional like pencil and pen sketches and things too, or is it all digital?
No, in the beginning it was all digital, like on Photoshop on my computer. I was starting to sketch a little bit with pencil around 2015 and after. I started in the beginning to sketch only with pencil, and then I tried to fill the drawings with pencil colors. And some months ago, I started also to paint a little bit with acrylic colors on canvas, a little bit. But I sometimes follow tutorials on YouTube, like for beginners. Mostly, I see an image and I try to draw it. I don't draw from my mind something new.
Okay.
For now, at least. I don't know. In the future, maybe yes.
All right. So, when you were doing the early digital work, and like you said, practice makes perfect. You keep working with Photoshop, and when did you start doing? Were you doing fan art pieces first, or were you doing, your other pieces like what our background is right now?
In the beginning, I started to do only original pieces. I had subscribed on DeviantArt. I believe you know the site,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. And
Yes.
there you can find some stock photos from models, backgrounds, items, whatever. And I was saving stock photos from there. And sometimes, ideas was coming on my mind. Mostly I was inspired from music, like a lyric or a movie I had watched. And then I was trying to find the right stock photos to create what I had in mind. And then I had a final result, a final picture.
Okay. So, when you first started doing the digital work, and you just mentioned that you might be inspired by a lyric, what kind of music were you listening to then?
Metal music. Like 90% of the music I listen is metal music.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of seeing in your background on your wall, like,
Yes, and on top there are like 1,000 flags from Nightwish. And there it is Sirenia flags. And some delaying posters right there. And yes. All my room is full of flags, posters, everything related to music.
cool. Someone asked a question here that I'll put up there.
Mhm. Did you get good? I lost it.
Oh,
From TV.
ask,
What does it mean by stencils? About the stock photos? I got
let's see.
confused.
We'll see if Industrial Girl will answer that about. So she's asking about the stencils, Industrial Girl, if you can maybe find another way to explain what that is. But yeah, in the meantime,
Mhm.
so yeah, you like Nightwish and Delane and a lot of these symphonic metal bands. What drew you
Yes.
to that? What drew you to that genre of music?
Well, my story is kind of similar to Bessie's. I mean, the first band I listened to and got me into this music was Evanescence. Like back in 2003 when they released Bring Me to Life. I mean, everyone knows them from Bring Me to Life, I believe. And yeah, it was the same like Bessie. I was also buying these music magazines he mentioned, and I saw the lyric from Bring Me to Life. And at the same time, we had a music channel in Greece that was playing not only Greek music, but some also rock and metal songs. And I listened to Bring to Life on the TV, and I was like, oh, this must be the song I had the lyric from the magazine. And then I bought the album. Fallen was the first rock metal album I ever bought. Back then I was like 12, 13 years old. And yes, I fell in love with Evanescence. And sometimes after that, I watched the music video from Nemo, Nightwish, on the same TV channel. And I was like, wow. And then I was starting, search a little bit for the bands on the internet, and I found other songs. And then I started to collect their discography.
Okay, and so yeah, you're into Evanescence, and then now you heard Nemo from Nightwish, and
Yes, and after when Nemo was Sleeping Sun, but the 2005 version from the Greatest Hits, High
oh, okay.
Hopes. Yeah, and when I listened to that song, I was like, yeah, okay, wow. And the Greatest Hits was the first Nightwish album I bought. And
So,
I sadly found out about Nightwish around the period they had fired Taria.
oh,
Around, yeah, 2005.
I am extremely fortunate, especially here being in the United States, that I saw them with Tarja before.
Actually, you're so lucky, first of all. You're
Yeah,
super lucky. But they had also played once with Taria around 2004 when they had released once. But back then I was underage and I couldn't go.
oh,
And the second time they played in 2008 with Annette. But I was still underage. I was like 16, 17, and I didn't have someone to come with me to the show. And I didn't see them. And afterwards, they have never visited Greece again. But I saw them live 2 years ago in Poland, in Krakow. And this was a birthday gift from my boyfriend. Like, he booked the tickets, he booked everything, the whole trip, and he was like, "This is a present for your birthday." And I was like, in shock, like in total shock.
that's
We were
awesome.
first row, and I couldn't believe I was seeing Nightwish, like live, being in the same room with Nightwish, because it's my ultimate favorite band. Yeah, I'm a fangirl.
No, that's awesome. I was just going to mention that, yeah, I was very lucky because they only played like 10 shows here in America with Tarja. It was a very short tour. And then I got to meet the whole band after the show.
Oh
So
my God, there was a meet and greet ticket, or you met them like backstage?
I just hung out after the show, just like every other fan, and eventually they came out.
Oh my God. Actually, back then, they were famous, but not so famous as they are now. Because right now, to meet them backstage without a meet and greet, it's like, I don't know, a miracle of Jesus. Because in Krakow, we never saw any of the members afterwards. They disappeared to the tour bus, I believe. And there wasn't a meet and greet for that show. And yeah, I couldn't meet them. My dream is to meet Thomas in person.
I can tell you this story because of that show. He was the first member to try to sneak out to get from the backstage door to the bus, and he had his hat
Mm-hmm.
on, and he was trying to kind of do this so he wouldn't be seen. I'm the one who said his name when I saw him, and then he turned around and kind of smiled at me, talked to him for a little while. He signed. I have the once CD booklet signed by the entire band, so he was the first one to sign it that night.
Wow. Okay, I have some Nightwish album signed too, but by Taria. And it was when she was touring solo in Athens, like 3
Okay.
years ago. Yeah, this is something. And still, I can't believe it. Like the 15-year-old girl who used to buy these CDs wouldn't believe that I would have them signed by Taria, or I would meet many of the artists I admire and I listen since I was a child, actually.
All right. Yeah, no, I totally understand that. So since we're on this Nightwish subject, have you done any fan art then related to Nightwish?
Yes, and I also have a specific album on my page that it's Nightwish inspired artwork. Because I get inspired not only fan arts that include members of Nightwish, it's also art that it is inspired by Nightwish, like from a song or from the movie they had released, Imaginary movie. I have some related. I don't know if you have watched the movie.
I have.
I have one, for example, that is inspired by the arabesque and the
Okay.
little princess it had inside the little girl with a red dress that was dancing. And yes, I have a lot of works inspired by Nightwish, and I actually have one that is signed by Thomas. And it's weird because I really haven't met him in person, but I used to speak with the piano teacher of Thomas on
Hmm.
Facebook. And there was in the past one kind of event that was happening in Finland, like a Nightwish fan week. And everyone who makes fan arts of Nightwish could send something, and they displayed it like an exhibition there. And I was speaking with his teacher because he was the creator of all this project. And I asked him someday that if I can send you a fan art and a letter to give to him, first of all, and I could send you a piece so he could sign it. And then, if you can ship it back to me, and of course I will cover all the shipping costs and everything just to have an autograph from him. And he said yes. And I have it somewhere here, if you want me to show it on camera, because I tend to give artists my fan arts to sign them when I meet them after a concert or so.
Cool.
When I get the chance, of course. And this one, is it visible?
Yes.
And
Yes.
the signature is here.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah, it's this one.
awesome. And so there's a question came through asking about, are there artists that you draw inspiration from?
Yes. My most favorite artist on this kind of artworks is Victoria Frances. She makes Gothic arts, but she makes some kind of traditional art. It's not made in Photoshop. She draws, but I have 3 of her art books, and I was always loving her work, like seeing it on her page on Instagram, on Google, and sometimes yes, I mean subconsciously maybe I get some inspiration. You can find some common elements sometimes, not on purpose. I don't try to copy a picture, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So as you've been working as an artist and developing your skill set, I know that you've done some work for bands. So can you talk about some of the bands that have used your artwork?
Yes, actually, yes, and it was always a dream of mine to do some kind of art for a band or a book cover, something like this. And some years ago, in 2017, Elaine asked me to do a cover art for a CD single they were going to release, a digital one. And I was like, wow, because I was also listening to the band, like I really love their music. And it happened like out of sudden, like really randomly. I didn't expect it. I had created a fan art for the singer, and I had posted it on Facebook, on Instagram, and she saw it. And she messaged me and she told me that she really liked it. And she asked me if she could have it as a print on band's web shop because they sell prints of their photographs. And I said yes, of course. Because I felt honored, and I also would be a little more famous, I believe, because fans of the bands would see the artwork or so. And yes, at some point we were speaking, and she told me that would you be interested to do the artwork for a digital single we are going to release? And I said yes, like immediately. And this was the first collaboration actually with Link.
That's got to be awesome. To, like you're saying, I mean, already being a fan, and then to have them reach out to you to, yeah, utilize your artwork for an album cover. That's got to be. Do you have a copy of that like on your wall somewhere?
I have a copy. It is also signed by the singer. I will show you. Yes, I have a lot. This is the artwork.
Oh, cool.
And I have one more that is the first fan art I did for her. And this is how she found out of me. This one.
Oh, all right. Wow, it's awesome.
Yes, I'm a collector. I mean, everything. Not only about my art, like autographs from bands, guitar picks, everything.
So I'm not well, I can't draw to save my life. As an artist yourself, like this background original image that you sent me to use, how long did that take you to do?
It depends on the image. Sometimes it can take me 1 hour. Others are more complicated because I use more parts from more images, and it can take up to 3-4 hours. And sometimes, I have the final result, but I watch it and I'm like, something is not good. Like, I don't like exactly the shades of the colors, and I change them a lot. Like, I'm a perfectionist. I want to find the perfect color shade for my eye to say it's perfect. Otherwise, I won't publish it. I have some works that never saw the light of day on Facebook or Instagram because in the end I was like, it's not good enough for me.
Well, that's always good to hold yourself to a standard, that you want to make sure that you're hitting that standard every time. And if it's somehow a little short, then yeah, it doesn't get out to the public.
Yes, and as the years are passing by, I see like older works of mine, like from 2 years ago, and I'm like, I don't like it that much now. I could have done this differently, or make the shades of the colors a little bit more perfect to blend together. And yes, I believe as we continue to practice and practice, we become better, like everyone, like a singer, an actor, an artist, everyone.
Yeah, and what you just described is like the artist's curse, because we're all like that. We all look back at our older stuff like, man, I could have done this better, I could have done that better, and that's how we improve.
Yes, I know. Actually, this is the right thing to do because if you are always like, oh, what I do is perfect, and you never try to progress and make yourself better, you will not become better.
Right. Absolutely. Um, and I was going to ask you about, you have your artwork available on different items. I don't know if it was through Etsy or through another online site, but can you kind of talk about where people could find your work?
Yes, actually, I sell my prints mostly. I sell them on my personal eBay store.
Okay.
Or you can also message me on Facebook and ask me a specific artwork, and I can print it upon request. And someone can buy it. And I also am a member on a site that is called redbubble.com.
Oh, okay.
That there any artist can upload an artwork, and it becomes available in many objects like tote bags, like mugs, like pillows, phone cases, masks for COVID nowadays, even everything. And I have one back there. This one, I ordered it for me. It's one with fan art of Simon Simons from Epica.
Hmm.
And this is tote bag.
Oh,
And
cool.
yes, you can get most of my works there are available in many items, so anyone can choose whatever they like. And for this, the site is responsible to print everything and ship out everything. I only take a percent of the money
Okay.
from its selling. But I find it nice for my art to be available in so many items. So anyone can choose whatever they like.
Okay, awesome. And a question came in about, do you have any album art in the works? Is there something you're working on right now?
Yes, actually, I was working on a cover art for an album of a new band. They are from Germany, and it is a symphonic metal band. And they announced the cover art just a few days ago. I also posted it on my Instagram and Facebook. And they have started also an Indiegogo campaign to, you know, have the money so they can produce the album and release it. But yes, I worked for them. It's the latest cover art I have made. They are called Heaven's Guard.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, I met their guitarist on a concert, a Delane concert last year in Germany. We
That's
were first thrown, he was standing next to me, and we just started talking at some point randomly. And I mentioned that I do cover arts. and digital art in general. And then we exchanged Instagram accounts. And when the time had come, he just messaged me and asked me if he want to work for our cover art. And yeah, this is how we got it.
Cool. Yeah, you never know who you're going to end up talking to when we could be at shows. I had the same kind of thing. Most people don't know that I run a media outlet. I'm just another fan standing there until they start talking to me, or if they see my camera bag. They kind of start
Yes,
putting
and this
two
is
and two
the best,
together.
coming out of random when you meet people. Music connects people, as I always say. This is how I met with Bessie, through music, actually.
Hmm. Yeah, it's one of the wonderful powers of music for sure, is bringing people together. And even us right
Yes.
now, I met Bessie through the warning, and then I met you through her. So it's all kind
Yes, because I watched her interview as well on Instagram, and
yeah, it's
and
all
I see you too like some of the artists I listen to, like Anneke, for example.
yes, love her. Well, yeah, I could sing, I could listen to her all day.
Her voice is amazing, yes, and she's such a good person in person. I mean, she's so kind, and
Mhm.
yes, she's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, no, we definitely have, yeah, with her, and we talked about offline about like Charlotte from Delane and Serenia, and a lot of we have certain bands that we definitely have in common.
Yes, I love Delane and I love Serenia. These are all bands I found out when I was still in high school, like when I was a teenager. So I still hold them dear in my heart.
Yeah, well, and you're right, because when you meet an artist, and if they're really kind and not and obviously talented, then it just makes you that much more of a fan, because you're already a fan, but then you find out they're a really good person, so you're like, now I'm a fan for life.
Yes, actually, yes. I have met artists that are really kind in person, and I'm like, okay, now I love you even more. And I have met also artists that are really arrogant in person, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I like your music, but it's not like it was before.
Yep.
Like I had an idol in my mind, and then it got all destroyed. I won't say the name of the singer because I don't want to make any bad impressions about that person, but yeah. And the people who know me, they know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate, and I'm the same way. So if I meet a band or an artist, an actor, whoever, and they're really cool to me, then I become that much more of a fan. But it's completely the opposite. If I meet somebody and they're a jerk, then it's like, I still like your music, or I like your movies, or whatever it is, but
Yes,
I'm not as into it as I was.
yes. For the person I'm talking about, I would never try again to meet them in person after a concert. Like, never.
Um, yeah. So, do you have, like you talked about, that new artwork with the German band, and they're trying to get funds together for their release? Do you have anything that you're
Mhm.
personally? Do you have something that you're personally working on just for yourself?
Right now, no, but I have something in mind about fan art. The
Oh,
idea
okay.
came today, actually, because I saw a picture of an artist, and then I'm like, I can work on that. And I have something in mind that you might see the following days or the following weeks.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was actually amazed earlier when you said that it might take you, 3 hours, 4 hours. I thought you were going to talk about like 3 or 4 days to work on some of these pieces. I'm amazed how quickly you do some of this.
No, it takes me days only if I work on a piece, a commercial piece, like cover art for a band or something, because sometimes they give me the main idea. Like the band I worked for this time, the German one, they told me what they had in mind, like what they wanted the picture to show and stuff. And they told me, you have the idea on your mind and work on something, and you can show me the result you have. And then I send them the work, they see it, and then we discuss if they want me to change something, or if they want me to add something more, or, change the colors, or change the model, or change whatever. And this might take some days, like I send them the picture on their mail, they see it, and then they tell me to change something or not, and then I continue to work on the changes, send them back the picture, they tell me if it's okay or if they want something more. And yes, this can take maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, it depends on when we get the final result.
Okay. And so like that's a good example when you're sending the artwork back and forth with the band until they're satisfied with it. I'm just curious, how do you work out like what
Mhm.
you charge? How do you work out what you charge them? Is it just like a flat fee then, just to have a final product, or how does that work?
I I have specific prices for, like, if you want just the cover art, if you want a full booklet, or if you want the cover art for just a single, not the album or so. It depends.
Okay.
And I also take commercial work, like, from anyone. Like,
Okay.
if you want to have a specific picture, you can send me your request and I'll make it just for you. I don't publish it on my page if someone doesn't want to. For example, a friend some months ago asked me to make a specific piece. He wanted it as a birthday present for his girlfriend. And I
Mhm.
worked on that. And I posted it on Facebook only when he had given her the present, so she won't see it before and ruin the surprise. And I asked him if you want me to post it or not, because if you don't want me to, it's commercial work I want. It's not a personal piece of art to publish.
Okay.
And yes.
Okay. And I'm sorry, yeah, Industrial Girl actually asked this earlier. Are there any bands you would like to work with in the future?
Yes. Nightwish is the first name that would always come to my mind, and Sirenia, for example, or Delane, Within Temptation, Evanescence, even though they are really big names, but you never know. Or Beast in Black, for example. But I have also worked with some Greek bands. They are not so famous as Nightwish, for example, but I also like their music, so I was like, of course, I'm super glad to collaborate with you.
Cool. So, I mean, and I kind of talked about this in other interviews, but what is the local scene like music-wise there where you're located in Greece?
Okay, in Greece, metal music is not the most popular genre in the country. I mean, we are a minority. And some people, especially older people, have it in their minds like it's music for Satanists or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they see a band that has more heavy sound, like Cradle of Filth or Rotten Christ, who are
Mm-hmm.
from Greece, with the black clothes and the crosses and stuff. But yeah, I was always listening to metal music since I was 12, 13. So, okay, even though it is a minority, I still love the music. But no, it's not the most popular genre. I mean, even on TV channels, you won't see many video clips airing on the TV. Like, we have a music channel and they only have one TV show that is for metal music that they air it every Sunday, if I recall correctly, at midnight. Like, it's a horror movie or something.
Okay. Yeah. No, that kind of sounds like what things have turned into over here. That you basically have to find your metal. It's not, well, for the most part, it's not mainstream to that level. And like when you're talking about airing the show in Greece at midnight, they used to do the same thing over here many, many years ago on MTV, where they had the heavy metal block on Saturday nights, like started at 10 p.m. or whatever. So it's like, who's watching this other than metalheads?
Actually, yes. And I get so much surprised when I find a person on the street or something that they listen to metal too, and maybe, comment something about my t-shirt or something. I'm like, wow, you listen to metal too? Like, we are a super minority here.
What kind of music is popular there then? I'm just curious.
Okay, it's typical Greek folk music that I hate. And pop songs, like foreign pop songs
Okay.
or foreign R&B songs and stuff, you know, what the maze listens to in general in every country, not only in Greece, this kind of stuff,
Okay. All right.
unfortunately.
Well, to wrap up this interview, being a self-taught artist like you are, what kind of advice would you give someone that wants to start getting into doing what you do?
First of all, if you love this and you love what you do, even though in the beginning you won't see the results you would like to see, and even if you think you are not good enough, continue to practice and practice and practice. Believe me, practice makes miracles. I mean, in the beginning, if you see my first works, you would be like, ew. And I am like that myself when I see my very first works. But, you know, if you love what you do and you continue to practice, you will become on a higher level with years of practicing. And it's always important to love what you do, whatever it is, even if you sing or if you're an actor, anything.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's really good advice. And Marlene, I want to thank you for taking the time. And everybody out there, it's Frozen Mistress Art. You can see that on her screen title. So if you look her up on Facebook or Instagram or her website or her Redbubble, and everybody in the chat, thank you for tuning in wherever you are in the world, different time zones. So yeah, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to checking out your future art as I keep seeing it get posted.
Thank you, and thank you very much for having me, and thank you to everyone who was watching this right now with us.
All righty.
And we will talk again on Instagram, on Facebook.
Yes, we will.
We will keep in touch.
All right. Have a good night. Have a good night over there, and everybody else have a good day. So we'll see you all later.
Okay, bye, and have a good day as well. Bye, everyone.